The knock wasn't loud. 3 even beats, measured like someone timing control. He stood behind the door and listened to what followed: birds, a distant lawnmower, a suburban morning pretending to be harmless. He opened the door. 2 men in tactical vests blocked the light, tan plates, black gloves, mirrored lenses. A third, clean suit, sharp haircut, held a clipboard like proof that paper could bite. No greetings. No names. You're under arrest. The street held its breath. A curtain twitched. A dog barked once and swallowed the sound. He studied their almost uniforms, patches slightly wrong, radios that weren't on, lanyard badges that looked printed. He said nothing. Silence weighed the porch and made them explain themselves. Step onto the walkway. Hands where I can see them. Charge, he asked, calm. The woman lifted the clipboard. Violation of homeowner security code. Trespassing. Multiple neighbor reports. We're detaining you for questioning. Suspicious activity, he echoed, tasting the phrase. Which neighbors? That'll be discussed at the station. Step out. He stepped once, then twice. Shoulders loose. Chin level. Eyes soft. Not a fight, not a flinch, just gravity. The woman's pen hovered but didn't write. He noticed everything: new vest, unscuffed nylon, a dead radio, an earpiece wire going nowhere, no city patch, no agency seal. Real officers carry fatigue, these carried hunger. Warrant, he said gently. If I'm detained in my yard, you have one. The man in sunglasses clenched his jaw. Don't make this harder. What happens if I don't? Resisting. Resisting what, exactly? The woman tried to steer the moment back with policy jargon. He tilted his head. Is that a law, or a pamphlet? Phones chimed to record. The scene grew larger than the porch. He let the weight of attention settle. Before we go further, he said to the invisible audience, if you know how fast lies dress up like authority, stay with me. And if you want more moments when truth doesn't knock, it enters, subscribe. What happens next is the point. Turn around. Hands behind your back. For a homeowner's code, that's a lot of handcuffs. Enough, the second man snapped. We know who you are. Cameras don't lie. Then show me the footage. The clipboard hand tightened. No warrant. No form that could survive daylight. Just stiff paper and hope. Last time. Turn around. Okay. He turned. Hands behind his back. And listened, not to them, but to the street, to breath patterns, to the pulse of 3 strangers convinced compliance meant surrender. The big one reached. Metal clicked. The other shifted for show. The woman adjusted her jacket like an audience was judging her posture. Interesting cuffs, he murmured. Model 700? Or from the kit with the badge? Keep quiet, the big man growled, grabbing. He pivoted a fraction. Bones became geometry. Grips closed on air. The cuff kissed nothing and rang like a toy. The second lunged and caught another nothing. You're nervous, he said. You shouldn't be. Stop talking. He looked at the woman. You're not recording. Second mistake. Second? First was knocking. The big man's eyes flickered. We're taking you in. Where? Your clubhouse? Phones leaned in. A kid on a bike froze at the curb, feeling the static when lies wander too far from home. He breathed once. Do you know why real officers don't announce arrests like a spell? He asked. Because it's a responsibility, not a line. Turn around, the big man barked. I am turned around. The cuffs grazed the edge of patience. He had promised himself he wouldn't do this here. Mow the lawn. Wave. Be ordinary. But silence is not consent. He moved, not fast, not hard, just precisely. The porch's geometry changed. A wrist wasn't where it wanted. An elbow became an idea that hurt. The cuffs clicked on air and chimed toward the bushes. Hands where I can see them, he said, soft and final. They froze. Who are you? The woman asked. He stepped once, shrinking the air between beats. Look at me. They did. Feel that drop in your gut? That's the calculation failing. That's the moment you learn you're not in charge. Name, she tried, voice thinning. He almost gave it, then glanced at kids, mailboxes, the quiet life he'd been building. Names are for paperwork, he said. I'm here for truth. We have authority, no. You have costumes. The second man flinched. We're a neighborhood task force. We partner with law enforcement. Which agency? He didn't wait. Don't worry. I already know. He'd seen them 3 nights earlier in a pickup at the cul-de-sac, seen the clipboard woman carry envelopes from the real estate office, seen the HOA chair's signature on letters that looked like threats in a suit. He'd run plates without leaving tracks. He'd traced names that hid inside public records like weeds in trim lawns. What do you want? He asked. Money? Silence? An example to keep the right people afraid? Compliance, the first said, but the word no longer fit. Control, he corrected. Borrowed from a vest. He let the silence season their mouths. Then, here's what happens. Hands visible. Tell me who sent you. Hope they're smarter than you. The big man stepped back. Somewhere a siren remembered another job. What if we don't? The woman asked. Then you meet my people. Who would that be? Desperation showed in a tremor. He took out a slim wallet. Moved slowly. Opened it an inch. The seal. The metal. The number. The thing liars fear. The men forgot to breathe. The woman made a sound like a word that missed. Hands where I can see them, he repeated, softer now because the weight had moved. This is me being kind. You're FBI, the second whispered, like naming a monster to make it smaller. The badge caught the sun. I am, he said. And you just tried to arrest one of my agents. Something cracked, not bone, a plan. The map they'd been given showed a road that never existed. You're making a mistake, the woman stammered. We were told, by whom? He didn't blink. Micromotions told stories, throat, pupils, a shoulder wanting to run before feet agreed. He'd seen cartels break with more dignity and bankers with less noise. Fear keeps the same shape. Put the cuffs on the step, he said. 3 steps back. Hands visible. Listen. The metal touched concrete like a bell. Now we talk. He asked cutting questions. Who paid you? How much? Which door? What subject line? How many targets didn't know to ask for a warrant? With each answer, something drained, confidence, posture, the thin mask that makes amateurs dangerous. Words like policy and deterrent folded under weight. The street turned witness stand. He shifted casually, the phone framed faces, the mic captured truth, a silent signal sprinted where it needed to. If you're still here, he said to viewers who prefer truth quiet and unstoppable, this is where most stories fold. Not here. If you stand with real justice, the kind that doesn't wear costumes, subscribe. The next 5 minutes are where the mask falls. We were told to bring you in, the big man blurted. You thought no one would question you. You thought a word was a hammer. Are you charging us? Depends. On what? Whether you kept the messages. Her eyes betrayed a reflex. Horror flashed and vanished. Screenshots, promises, initials pretending to be shadows. Good, he said gently. You just told me everything. A nondescript car turned the corner. Parked. Another followed. They didn't rush. Real authority arrives on time. He let the trio feel the approach before they saw it. Fear teaches fast. Who sent you? Someone on the board, she whispered. Connections. Name. She said it. The neighborhood exhaled. A breeze moved. Birds resumed their duties. He nodded, then surprised them. He stepped back. Gave them space. Your only good choice, call them, put it on speaker, say, it didn't work. He's not who you said. He's something else. Then listen. You can't make us, correct. But I can watch what happens when you don't. Another car arrived. Neighbors filmed without gossiping. Records love truth. She crossed the line between con and confession. Dialed. Speaker on. A confident voice answered. You're done already. It didn't work. He's not, then make it work. Do your job. You think the board pays you to be afraid of some, say the next word carefully, he advised. Silence grabbed the call. Who is this? The voice demanded, brittle now. He didn't answer. His silence walked into their room and sat down. The line clicked dead. Her hands stopped shaking. Truth terrifies first, steadies after. When did a costume feel safer than a conscience? He asked. No one answered. Unmarked sedans opened. Real officers stepped out the way rain leaves a cloud. He let the porch feel the shift from pretend to real. Stay put. Make better choices in the next 5 minutes than in the last 20. He angled the badge to the sun and waited. They came without sirens. No theater. A county cruiser parked like a neighbor who'd seen enough. A tall officer with tired eyes walked up, palms open. What do we have? 3 impersonators, he said. 2 in cosplay, 1 with a clipboard. Likely paid by an HOA board member to remove a resident they didn't want. Phones hold the trail. We have a name. The officer noted the cuffs on the step, the vests, the nervous eyes, the watching street. All right. Let's do this right. Want me gone? Not yet. They behave better while you're watching. They already are. The officer faced the trio. Hands visible. No sudden moves. If you reach for a phone, it's to unlock it and keep it that way. We were hired, the big man said. By who? The woman gave the name, smaller this time. Devices, the officer said. We'll get a warrant for the board member. Evidence bags arrived. The street stood straighter. Clipboard, the man asked. He flipped through, no warrants, just printed emails, community cleanup, compliance operation, non-compliant resident, and a handwritten checklist, arrive early, tape off area, control narrative, escalate if resistant. A signature at the bottom with a private, security consultancy logo that sold fear by the hour. Them again, the officer sighed. 3rd state in 2 years. Tracking? Always. We didn't know, the woman pleaded. They said police were too slow, that we had to show strength, make examples, by arresting people without warrants, he asked. By turning a neighborhood into a stage? She closed her eyes. I thought it was policy. He glanced at perfect lawns and second-story windows holding their breath. Fear wears the language of rules well, good streets obey bad letterheads. The officer's radio murmured, rapid warrants approved based on on-scene probable cause, witness videos, recorded admissions. The officer met his eyes. It's happening. We didn't hurt anyone, the big man offered. Not today, he said. How many doors did you pound this month? How many quiet people went quieter? Silence answered. This wasn't random, he added. You were told to target me. Why? No answer. You know what I do. Why would someone want me gone? The answer turned the corner in a luxury sedan. Polished. Out of place among cars with grass on their tires. A man stepped out, wearing a smile that had never met consequence. What is this? You were supposed to handle it quietly. The big man flinched. Loyalty met the fact it had never been mutual. I'm on the board, the newcomer told the officer. We'll handle this internally. No, sir. You won't. Do you know who I am? Do you? The man from the porch asked, stepping forward. A troublemaker, the board member sneered. A renter with online degrees. We have standards. You do, he said. The law has different ones. Put him in cuffs, the board member ordered. No one moved. The badge appeared in a patient palm. The board member leaned in. His face changed. Federal Bureau of Investigation, the officer said evenly. Lower your voice. This is a misunderstanding. A neighborhood matter. It became federal when you paid an out-of-state contractor, under investigation, to impersonate law enforcement across state lines, the man said. It became criminal when you authorized detainment without authority. It became my matter when you aimed your theater at my house. The street went silent. I didn't know they'd go this far, the board member sputtered. They said compliance action, they sold you fear, the man replied. You bought it because fear was cheaper than patience. Read him his rights, the officer said. Are you arresting me? For the beginning, the man answered. Impersonation, conspiracy, coercion. We'll let the phones name the rest. Real cuffs sounded different, weighty, final. Neighbors exhaled. Some stepped closer to witness, not gawk. A child asked, are they the bad guys? People made bad choices, a mother said. Statements were gathered. Devices collected. Emails became ropes that pulled a curtain down. In the SUV, the board member stared at nothing, calculating the cost of certainty. When the vehicles left, the street exhaled again. He stood on his porch. The house seemed to have listened. A neighbor approached with a plate of cookies like a passport. I didn't know, she said. About you. About any of this. It's by design, he smiled. Good people shouldn't have to think about this. We got those letters, she whispered. I thought we had to obey. I thought it was safer. Fear sells well, he said. Always has. Are you staying? He looked down the street, yards, children, mailboxes guarding ordinary lives. He thought of work in shadows and a garden behind the fence. He thought of how the neighborhood leaned toward truth once it had a shape. Yes, he said. I'm staying. Inside, he wrote while details were fresh, a glove squeak when fear took sweat, a pen hovering over a blank page, a manicured laugh trying to buy reality with volume. A message arrived, warrants executed, evidence seized, contractor under review. Good work. He typed back, it was the neighborhood. We just gave truth a microphone. He watched the street return to beautiful ordinary. Then the thought that always follows a case, how many streets are quiet because someone is afraid? He stepped onto the porch and faced the camera that had recorded since the first knock. If you think authority is a costume, he said, you'll eventually meet someone who knows what authority is. It isn't loud. It isn't cruel. It doesn't need an audience. It's the discipline to protect people who don't know they need it. It's patience to stand while a bully spends the last of his courage. And sometimes it's a badge that stays in a pocket until leaving it there would be the lie. He glanced at the toy cuffs on the trash can, symbols ending where they belong. If you believe truth can be quiet and still unstoppable, I want you with us. Subscribe, share this with someone who forgets how powerful a calm no can be, and join a community that doesn't mistake volume for strength. Here, the good guys don't roar, they endure. And when the moment comes, they stand. He let the camera watch him breathe, simple proof of life, then closed the door on what had been kept safe. The neighborhood became only wind, leaves, and people who finally understood safety isn't performance, it's promise. Days passed, charges filed, a resignation letter that sounded like a confession in a rented suit, a consultancy press release full of words that collapse under video. A board seat opened. The community voted. Future letters were clear, legal, respectful. The trio returned for a meeting, not to threaten, to apologize. The woman spoke first, no excuses, only truth about how easy it is to get paid to be loud when you've never been taught to be brave. The room didn't cheer or hiss, it did something harder, it understood. He sat in the back, unnoticed, the way he liked it, and watched a neighborhood become a neighborhood again, not because someone swooped in but because someone stood up. Many someones. He left before the end, walking by the place where yellow tape had pretended to be law. Grass had grown back. It always does. On the porch, he opened a small box. The badge inside had edges worn smooth by years. He thought of a partner who never raised his voice and never lost a case, a mentor who believed silence could be a sword, a victim who once said, "Thank you for not making me feel small while you made the monster smaller." He slid the badge back, into a drawer with nails, twine, old photos, and a garden list. Night arrived. Porch lights flicked on like small constellations in a place that now knew the difference between looking safe and being safe. He spoke once more to the dark, not as an agent, just a voice among others. If someone knocks with a costume and a threat, remember, questions aren't crimes, warrants aren't optional, authority without responsibility is theater. Theater doesn't get to take your freedom. He let a beat pass. We'll be here. Every time. For quiet people. For those who think they're alone. For mornings that deserve to stay ordinary. He looked at the street and smiled at nothing in particular. If you believe in that, subscribe. Not for numbers. For a promise. We'll keep telling these stories. We'll keep standing in the doorway when it matters. And when someone tries to turn your home into a stage, we'll be there to turn the lights back on. Somewhere far away, a printer that had made too many fake badges went dark. Somewhere nearby, a child slept without dreams of tan vests. On the porch, a man feared by monsters and unknown to most listened to a neighborhood that was exactly what it should be, quiet. And the quiet, at last, meant safety.